Release the hounds. Hello. Hi there. Welcome to Sheepless Needles. I'm Shannon. I'm vegan. I knit. I game. I play with bunnies. Aww. Uh-oh. We need to watch the two of those. They're kind of bonding and kind of not. But this is the first time she's let him groom her. Oh, you guys are witnessing bunny love. Okay, so anyway, I got totally distracted there. I'm not sure what episode this is. I think it might be episode 5. So here we are. Welcome. If you've never been here before, it's a little weird. It's a little non-traditional because that's how I roll. But we'll have fun. Grab a snack, grab a beverage, hang out. Okay, now the cat's in the mix. Really? This is my life. In a nutshell. Enjoy. I think it's been like 2 weeks since my last podcast. And in my last podcast, I had set up goals for myself to keep myself accountable and to kind of keep myself in check because I go off the rails super easily, as you're going to tell in the next 20 minutes. So the goals that I believe I set up for myself, and I haven't gone backwards to watch it to tell you what the goals were, so I'm guessing. I think goal number 1 was to complete section 3 of the Stephen West Slipstravaganza shawl, which was his make-along from 2020. I had rolled a d20 with 20 different projects to pick from, and it landed on the Slipstravaganza. It was the project I was most intimidated to start, and it is the project that I am most pleased that I started. I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. So let me give you a little show of where I'm at with that. I did complete the goal. I did finish section 3. Okay. I really like it, you guys. I'm really happy with it. Okay. So section 3, let's see if I can punch this out a little bit so you can see the diamonds without having everything fall off the friggin' needles. Okay, so yeah, you can kind of get an idea. But section 3 is this diamond pattern with bricks behind it. And it's just a color repeat of the 3 contrast colors. I really, really, really love it. And I love how it's flowing. And I'm really happy with the color choice. And it's a very odd color choice for me, but that's okay. I love it. I'll figure it out. And like I said, when I am done with this, and I think I'm going to do this with all of my finished projects when I'm done, I will have a complete makeup look that coordinates or matches said knitting project. So the crazier the color, the funner this is going to be. Funner is not a word. More fun this is going to be. I am using Willow Ambiance yarn. I got it through Hirschners.com, and I really, really am enjoying it. It is really, it's soft, but it's not super soft. So it's in between like Dishy, if you're familiar with Dishy from Knit Picks, and then like a super soft cotton. So it's in between a Pima and the one word I can't pronounce, mercenized cotton. I love it, no complaints. I would recommend it to anybody. It doesn't split. It's really great. It's really great on the needles, and the needles I am using are Addi Rocket Squares US 5s. And I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see this, but these are, oh, is that in focus? There we go. They're square. And I love them. I don't drop stitches off them. They're a little bit faceted, and the faceteds kind of hold the yarn a little bit, but it's still slippery enough where you can kind of knit more quickly than you could on wood. So I'm very happy with that needle choice. And again, the needle choice, US 5s, Rocket Squared. I liked this enough. This was my test. So I bought this, and then I got a set. I got a set of shorts. You guys, best gift I've gotten for myself in a long time. Not inexpensive. However, I had gift cards that I was able to use. I don't think I would have ever bought these for myself without gift cards, ever, because of the price tag. But now that I have them, I love them, and it's kind of going to be like my Peloton, where I'm going to use the crap out of them to pay them off. So like my Peloton, I will have had it for 2 years in November of this year. I have used something on the Peloton app, I think almost every day. I work out anywhere from 5 to 7 days a week using the app, because I have to justify the price tag of the bike, because not inexpensive, certainly not something that I ever would have bought without my sister's help. But for me, if I'm going to invest in something, I am going to bleed out every stinking penny I can from it. So you better believe I'm going to utilize every bit of Peloton that I can and every bit of these needles that I can to justify cost per use on them. I think it's kind of like clothing, where people are like, well, that's really expensive. If you divide it by how many times you wear it, you get cost per wear. And I think that's super important to look at. And I think in today's culture, people are buying a lot of throwaway things. I am not one of those people. So if I'm going to invest in something, I better get my money's worth. And if I'm not getting my money's worth, then I'm doing a disservice to myself and I'm being wasteful. And that's not the message I ever want to send to the world at large. So again, if you have an opportunity to try those needles, please do, and let me know what you think about them in the comments. Just to clarify, I am not sponsored. I do not have any affiliate links. No one's paid me to say anything. So these are all honest opinions about yarns, about needles, and about whatever we're going to talk about. So that was, to wrap up, goal number 1, done. So 1 success so far. Goal number 2 was to cast on a project for my husband, Steve. I have succeeded in that goal. I have cast it on, but I have come across a little bit of a problem that I'm going to need the universe's help with. So I can't really talk about specifics on this project. I can tell you what it is, but that's about all I'm going to talk about. It's the Botanic Shaw by Stephen West, theme number 2. Or no, theme number 1. It seems to be the only theme. It is I don't have a picture of it either. It is a triangular shawl that uses 2 colors. One is the main color, and it is a solid color of whatever you choose. And then the contrast color, he uses a gradient or color changing yarn. Not color changing, but you know what I mean, like an ombre. And I love the way it looks. And when I was looking at the photos of it, the one that I see the most, the main color is always a lighter color, and then the contrast color, being the color change, is always darker. And I wanted the opposite effect. I wanted a dark main color and then a color changing behind that. And for some reason, I had built that in my head, and I had picked my colors out, and I don't know what I did, but we'll just get into it. This is the first yarn I picked. This is Sheepy's. I can't pronounce that, sorry. It's Whirl. It's Blackberry Squeeze Me? Blackcurrant Squeeze Me. Don't mind if I do. So it's super pretty. And as you can see, I'm doing the center pole, so I'm going to start light and move out to dark. And then the second color is just a coordinating gray, and the gray is actually in the Whirl. So those are the colors I picked. Now here's where the conundrum comes in. I don't know what happened in my brain, but I flipped the main color from the contrast color, meaning that I made this my main color and this my contrast color. And this will make sense on why I'm having a problem with it. And I'm sorry for the scraping of the needles on my desk here. Okay, here's what I have. Now, the lighter color is the Whirl, the Blackcurrant Squeeze Me, and then the gray is the charcoal Whirlette. In the pattern, I should have flipped this. The main color should be the charcoal, meaning that this slip stitch chain that goes down should be in the charcoal. And then in the background would be the ombre yarn, right? So the ombre yarn is kind of fenced in by a solid color. Nope. I bucked the system. I went the opposite direction and did not catch it. I cast this on Wednesday, and then I knit a little bit on Thursday, and then when I got through the first repeat, I put it down. I was like, I think I am opposite of what I intended. But my brain was full throttle into it. So I feel like the universe was like, well, this is how you're going to do it because you don't follow rules. So I told my husband, he said, well, are you just going to, he's like, I don't want you to have to start that over, no. I was like, well, I did it this way for a reason, but I can't tell you why. And I am torn on whether I'm going to frog this and start over. Down below, would you redo it or would you go with it? Because the chain, the slip stitch chain is going to change color as the shawl grows, as opposed to being the solid gray. So it's not going to be like a prison for the color changing yarn. I'm very torn on this. So what do I do when I'm torn on things, people? Well, the first thing I do is I take a sip of a very tasty beverage. Oh my gosh, so refreshing. The second thing I do, I roll a d20. Here's the deal. 1 to 10. 1 to 10, frog it and redo it. 11 to 20, the universe obviously wanted it the opposite way and worked its way through your mind and your fingers and your hands. So we are going to roll this. Theme number 2. Theme number 1 is Stephen West, always. Theme number 2 is I have a dice addiction and I need help. So I backed a Kickstarter for Metallic Dice Games for liquid core dice. And you guys, I love these. And I don't know, ooh, this is going to be very, I don't think you're going to be able to see this. Hang on. Hold the phone. There is, nope, you can't see it. It's not reading. Okay. All you need to know is there is glitter in liquid in the middle of these die. So when you roll them, they sparkle beautifully. So I have my D20, and this D20 is going to determine, I wonder if I can roll it so you can see it. I don't think, well, we'll see. All right, let's just do it. Will I be redoing this? Will I just continue? What does the universe want? Interesting. All right, I'm gonna try, I'm gonna hold it. Whoa, try not to move the dice. That, my friends, is a 16, which means that I purposely, subconsciously flipped the main color and contrast color for some reason, and that reason we will see. Here's the deal. The recipient will never know the difference. They won't know what it should have looked like versus what it does look like. That's why I love this system. Okay. Conundrum solved. 2 goals achieved. 2 themes discussed. Moving on. Sorry for the loud clap. That means it's time for a sip. Goal number 3 was to do a gauge swatch for a hat project that I'm doing with my sister. Didn't do it, didn't touch it, didn't go near it. Don't know if I'm going to get to it anytime soon because, you guys, it's make-along season, and Stephen West's winter make-along, knit-along, mystery knit-along. I don't know when it starts. The announcement, I think, is on September 1st. And that's what Slipstravaganza was for 2020. It was a mystery knit-along, so section by section was released. You did not know what you were knitting as you were knitting it. And I forget how many years he's done this for, but it's a lot. So the 2021 MCAL season is coming up. I sent the information to my sister. She's totally on board. So I have a feeling we'll probably cast that on before we'll get to the hats. So I think what I want to do is goal number 1 for next podcast, section 4 of Slipstravaganza, maybe a little section 5, we'll see. Goal number 2, have my yarn picked out and purchased for the mystery knit along with Stephen West for 2021. Now, he does kits, but obviously you all know where I'm going to go with this. They're not vegan. They're wool, but he goes over textures and colors and how to kind of plan without knowing what you're knitting. And I love that he does that because that will help me pick out obviously vegan yarns that I can use. So in the comments below, please leave me websites or yarn dyers or indie yarn people who have vegan yarns that you like, and I will go check them out. I have no idea who I'm purchasing from or what type of yarn. I don't know if it's going to be fingering. I don't know if it's going to be DK or Aran or worsted. I'm guessing it's probably going to be fingering because typically that's what they are, but I have no idea. So I'm super excited about that. If any of you are going to do that mystery knit along, let me know in the comments, and what we could do. We could start our own little vegan Stephen West mystery knit along, maybe Ravelry group, our subgroup to our group, and we can kind of cheer each other on and see how we're doing. So let me know if you guys have any interest in starting something like that, and I will proceed. So that is my goal number 2. I don't think, do I have a goal number 3? I don't feel like I have a goal number 3, and I'm not going to make one up just for this. So, that's my knitting news. That's what I got. Yeah. So other topics to discuss, I need to stop buying dies, would be last time that I podcast, I asked you guys, what is going on with the hair? I asked you guys how you use patterns. Do you print them? Do you use your iPad? What type of voodoo do you do when you knit with patterns? And I really thought I was going to have a lot of people be like, yeah, I print them. No. I feel like I'm like, there was like one other person who was like, yeah, I have a binder and I print them, and she had really cute stickers on them. That's kind of the route I go. I like paper and I'm trying to be less wasteful. So I went ahead and downloaded 2 different apps, one of which was suggested, I think it was called Knit Companion. I feel like a moron because I need a tutorial for that doesn't exist because I can't figure out how to use it. So okay, that's goal number 3. Use my noggin and figure out how to use Knit Companion like a normal person, right? The second app I downloaded was something called Ravit, and I had never heard of it before. And I will leave links to both of these in the show notes in case you want to check them out. Ravit, I think, is $4.99, so there is a cost. Knit Companion was free. Ravit is kind of like a mobile app, so it's for your iPad or your phone. That's Ravelry, basically mobile, so that if you go to a yarn store and you can't remember what you have in your stash, which if you're anything like me, I can never remember what I have. I will remember color, but I will not remember the weight or how much of it I have, which is problematic, which is how I end up with way too much yarn. So anyway, you can, take it with you. So like, let's say you're at a local yarn store, you can be like, oh, I wanted to knit, such and such pattern, The Weekender by Andrea Mowry, and I don't remember, what kind of yarn I need. You can access it readily and quickly and then go about your business. I love the idea of this. And sidebar note would be that I had to go get a COVID test, which was negative because of a moron, and we're just going to leave it at that. So I went and got the COVID test, and I was so stressed out. My husband was like, do you want to go to this craft store? And I'm going to laugh when I say this. It's called the Busy Beaver Crafts. And it has been in Beaver Creek. Steve said since he was a kid, because he grew up in Beaver Creek. I did not. And I had never been in there before. And I think they mainly do like stained glass and then yarn dudes. And I am an uber organized person in one way and not in another. But this place gave me high blood pressure from just, I don't want to say it wasn't organized. It was organized for whoever did it. I don't know that it was organized yarn-wise for anybody else. Like, I cannot imagine. I worked in retail for over 20 years. I never, ever, ever would have set a schematic for a floor plan or a shelving unit that would have like yarn in it the way that this was set up. Like it was, it was kind of a hot mess. And I found a couple things, nothing, I'll get into what I found some linen that I bought, and then I found some Plymouth yarn that was fun. I'll probably sneak it into a project. I'll show it to you guys later. But when I was checking out, I realized, I was like, crap, I wanted to see how much yarn. I didn't bring my phone with me. So I downloaded Ravit, went to the yarn store, and I didn't even have my phone, so I couldn't even check it. So I can't really give you a review of Ravit in the wild because my dumb butt left my phone at home and didn't realize it until I needed it at the yarn store. Now, local yarn stores. This is the first one I've been to since the pandemic. And I don't think I'm going to go back to this yarn store. And I don't want to ever be completely negative about experiences because I think that you never know what someone else is going through. But when I was checking out, there was yarn behind the counter. And it was really pretty. And I was like, oh, what's that yarn back there? Now, mind you, I'm buying like $100 worth of yarn. Or a little less than that, but right around that. And I hadn't bought yarn in a really long time, so whatever. I'm not justifying my yarn purchases to the internet, so whatever. Anyway, it was behind the counter. She's like, that's a very expensive yarn. Okay. And I thought she would like turn around and maybe grab some of it. Nope. She gave me my total. How would you be paying for that? And so I just stopped. I said, can I get the fiber content on the peacock colored yarn? And she kind of looked at me and she pulled it down. She said, it is cashmere and something else, right? That's why it's expensive. As if I'm so stupid that I can't figure that out on my own. Whatever. But what bothered me is that I asked about the yarn and she completely ignored the fact that I was asking about it. And then I had to ask her again to even see it. She wouldn't even let me touch it. That's fine. Once I knew it was animal fiber. I wasn't going to buy it anyway. But the first thing I asked is it local? I couldn't get her to answer that either. It was like she could not have wanted to sell that to me any less. And as someone who works in retail, I just cannot believe when someone asks you about something and they're genuinely interested and you can see the interest in your face that you shut them down. And it really bothered me. And I don't think she was a mean person or a nasty person. She was very, very pleasant. However, it just really bummed me out that my first experience at a local yarn store ends like that. And it was like, I don't know what to say about that. Steve, you might need to Steve might cut all of this out because I don't want this to be negative, and I feel like it might have taken a turn. But I guess where I'm going with this is if someone is showing interest in something, don't shut them down. And the reason why I say that is I was beyond the yarn store experience. Maybe Steve, don't edit this out because this is an important point. I was watching Nandi, I'm going to mispronounce her, I think it's Bushell, Nandi Bushell. And if you don't know who she is, she's the prodigy little girl drum player who plays almost every instrument. She's incredible. She challenged Dave Grohl. Anyway, Dave Grohl and the Foo Fighters brought her on stage at, I forget where, huge stadium. She drummed Everlong incredibly well. And it made me cry when I was watching it. It made me cry because I realized this young lady who's incredibly talented. And when you watch her she does her own videos on YouTube. She's just the sweetest. You can just tell the love that she has for music, the love that she has for instrumentation, for other musicians, and the world at large. She just exudes that. And I thought, her parents, and I don't know anything about her personal life, but somebody realized very early on that she had an interest in music, and they went with it. And they solidly went with it. Because this kid has done more with her life at that age than I've even done in 50 years. And she's done it with a smile on her face and I just thought that's a situation where someone showed interest in something and they weren't shut down. And when you don't shut someone down, look what happens. Nandi happens. Nandi and the Foo Fighters happen for the whole world to enjoy. And yeah, if you have interest in something and somebody shuts you down, don't back off. And I tried not to back off at the yarn store, and that's a bad analogy to this, but yeah, if you shut someone down, it can have a really devastating effect on them if it's early on in their interest. So let's be cheerleaders for each other. We may not understand what someone's interested in, but if someone is showing you a proclivity to something, go with it. See where it leads. We don't know. And so many great things come from the unknown. So many great things come from trusting the universe to some degree, because the universe has no bias. It just is. So just surrender to that, right? Right. Okay. Hang on. That was a mouthful. Very quickly, gaming update. My husband and I played the open beta for Diablo 2. Phenomenal. Cannot wait for that game to come out. If you have never played Diablo 2, or Diablo 3, Reaper of Souls, I love all editions of Diablo. Probably with the exception to the mobile, which I'll never play, but I think the game comes out later this year. You can co-op with other players. If you need to blow off steam and just go do dumb stuff, that is the game for you. So much fun. And I'm hoping that they continue to work on it. They're going to work the bugs out, and hopefully it gets released and we're able to have a fun Diablo fall, because nothing says fall like Diablo. That's all I got for you. That's it. That's it. Sorry if this was a boring episode. Toodles!